We are not heading into a national housing market crash. We're not heading into a market crash in Southern California, given the facts on the ground today. And you're being misled every single day. And I don't know why, but I can show it. I'm Bill Gross. I'm the LA probate expert. And every week I analyze the real estate market for my clients. I've been in this business since 1986. And I can tell you that the real estate news is less accurate than the political news of the day or the regular news. That's saying a lot. I'm going to show you how. But before we get into that, a quick shameless plug for real estate agents. We get a bad rap from a lot of people. I work with attorneys. I work with customers all the time who feel that agents don't pull their weight. Here's a study from the Federal Reserve of Atlanta as to whether or not real estate agents are worth the money they charge for customers. Basically, the question is, do they sell homes for more than a customer would on their own by enough to justify their commission? And they took this. Now, I don't know how you would really prove all that, but and you can see they really want to knock real estate agents and talk about how the majority aren't very good. They based all this on three states or three city areas: Charlotte, Houston, and Minneapolis. But in their conclusion, they say, and it's great because they're forced to say that we conclude that the high performing agents, it should say like Bill Gross, who add significant value to the home selling process. I'm sorry, that there are high performing agents like Bill Gross who add significant value to the home selling process, but they constitute a minority of agents. Okay, I could have told you that. Many agents aren't worth what they do, but they're doing something that customers don't want to do and needs to get done. But at the end of the day, top agents like myself create more value. We sell a house for more than my clients can on their own. And I've seen that happen consistently in my career. Now, let's talk about the real estate market crash. Is there a crash? Well, I would say let's look at the data. One of the great numbers and metrics to look at is price per square foot. What are homes selling for per square foot, and how does that compare? And when you look at the market, consistently since 2019, we've been on an increase. The same house is selling for more over time. We know that housing prices went up by 41% just in the last 3 years. But that's partially because there's bigger houses being built. But even the same price house that was selling for $1,000 a square foot a few years ago today is selling for 1127 a square foot today. So we know that overall housing prices are going up. They've continued to go up, and we don't really see a slowdown and certainly not a reduction in the underlying value of where housing prices is. So, what does the government do? Well, there's a saying from Forrest Gump: stupid is as stupid does. And our government, I have to say, as far as I'm concerned, is nothing if not stupid. For example, take a look at mortgage delinquencies. The vast majority of loans are conventional mortgages, which are about 80% of the market. Delinquencies there have, traditionally been in the range below 1%, and that's been consistent other than during the pandemic or the 2008, 9, 10 housing crash. And even before that, they were higher. But we are by any standard historic low delinquencies. However, the smaller number of VA loans and FHA loans have increasing delinquencies, which are starting to approach the levels of 2008 to 9. So the same people insured all those loans and forced all those loans that went bad in 2008 and 9 are shoving more loans down our throat today. So that's something to pay attention to. Now, these numbers work out to be about 8%, according to Black Knight, a mortgage research company. About 8% of mortgages are underwater. And think about it. If you buy a house with an FHA loan, you put 3.5% down. It costs you about 7% to sell the house with commissions and closing costs. So day one, you're upside down. No different than a car or anything else you buy. You're upside down right away. VA loans with no money down, of course you have to pay 7% to get out of it. You're upside down right away. That's why first-time home buyers should look at a property they can buy, but more importantly, either going to stay there for a long time or can rent and keep it and cash flow it. Because if you have to sell it in a year or two, odds are you're going to be upside down, and that could lead to financial difficulty. So we have about 8% of our mortgages, but not content enough with that. The stupid move of the month goes to Bank of America. Even Yahoo Finance makes fun of them and says 2008 all over again. BofA is offering zero down payment, zero closing cost mortgages for certain minority communities. It's even worse. They're targeting people who don't have the credit history and don't have the money saved and don't have the experience in the financial markets that an average home buyer might. Now, I'm all for helping people out who need a hand up, but this is basically getting people into a mortgage that by every other measure they can't afford. What happened the last time we did that? The market crashed down. So this is just a way of giving money to people who we expect to foreclose. And of course, Bank of America will charge them interest, and Bank of America will charge them at the foreclosure, and then they'll sell that through their approved foreclosure company and escrow company and get the property all over again. But it's even worse than that. Their CEO, this is the guy you should pay attention to, Brian Moynihan. He's one of the guys that when the rest of the world's on fire, he's living like a king, making millions of dollars. BofA predicts the next 2 years of pain in the housing market. So what are they doing? They're sticking unprepared minorities into homes they can't afford. Now think about that for a second. Here's a guy who believes the market will be in pain for the next 2 years. That's his words, not mine. And what do? Let's get our best customers and stick them in mortgages with no equity. They're upside down day one. They have no track record. They have no credit history to show they can handle this. They're less prepared than the average buyer. Meanwhile, Brian Moynihan's not going to take a cut in his salary. He's not going to take a cut in his bonuses and stock options. He'll fly around his B of A private jet and go from his penthouse suite to penthouse suite. While people who get these mortgages are going to experience the pain he's predicting. That's Bank of America today. So I'm not sure the solution is the government, and I'm not sure the solution is Bank of America. Where do we turn? Well, I know that the mortgage market news and the real estate market news is worse than the political news. Let me give you just another example. This week's most disgraceful article award goes to Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine has a headline that says, I love this one, housing market crash 2023. Where will prices drop? Not will they, where and why? Not are they going to, but why? So they're presuming a housing market crash and they're going to tell us where and why. Well, not really. Because when you read their own article, you go down to the bottom line, what do they say? The housing market is likely to lose value through 2024, but it's more of a market correction than a crash. Well, hold on. It's not a market crash, but you said in the title of the article, it's a market crash. Which is it? So once again, I think that the real estate news is just completely misleading. Don't know why. Couldn't give you the reasons behind it, but to me the facts are incontrovertible. What would happen if we did have a significant drop in housing prices? Well, here's a great analysis by a wealth of common sense, a blog that I follow. And he plots on a graph the Case-Shiller housing price index over the past period of time. And you can see since COVID, the acceleration of values, and we've started to give back some of that. If prices dropped another 10%, we'd still be here compared to where we might have otherwise been on 2019 projection. If it went down 20%, we'd be here. Probably still ahead of where we would have been on a nice 2019 projection, meaning all we've done is given back some of the gain, and we still have tremendous gains in the housing market over the last period of time. So this isn't a crash like Bitcoin going from 60,000 to 16,000 and companies being wiped out. This is people who made 40% of their houses are going to give back some of it, maybe give back 5 or 10% over time, though I'm not sure they're going to give back any. The best projection I've seen of the market going forward is CoreLogic. They're First American Title. They have a very broad field in the market, and they're projecting for next year a 4.1% increase in the market. Now, that might feel like a decrease because if inflation is going up at 8 or 10% and the house only goes up at 4%, the price of the house might trail inflation. However, this is where real estate is such a great investment because if you only have, say, 30% equity, 30% equity in the house, then the rest is borrowed. If you're borrowing money, but your 30% equity is going to be tripled. So if the house goes up at 4% overall, you're only in a third. In essence, it's like a 12% increase in the value of the property. And you're only paying 6 or 7% of the mortgage. And your profits aren't charged until you sell the house. And a chunk of that might be deferred or not ever having to be paid. That's the power of real estate. So even if prices only go up 4%, it's a tremendous opportunity to get in on a great opportunity. So what should you do? It depends on your situation. If it's your time of life to downsize or move, good time in the market to get your house in the market. There's plenty of activity. If you're looking to buy a house, there's a little more inventory than was before. I had a buyer who made an offer on a property last week who I accepted, and another similar property came in the market that she likes as well. She's going to try to buy both of them, one as an investment property. So it's a great time for a buyer. It's a good time for a seller. The market is pretty mixed for both, or pretty balanced for both. I'm here to help you. If I can help in any way, call me, text me, email me. I'm Bill Gross. I'm on social media, Bill at Bill Gross EXP. And as always, make today your best day ever.